Hello everyone, and welcome back to MetalCore and Muscle. My name is Evan. I'm going to be your host for today's episode. And today is a very special episode because I'm going to be covering my picks for the 2021 MetalCore and Muscle Awards show. So I know a lot of other pages out there do awards shows, so I figured I would give my picks for album of the year, breakdown of the year, workout song of the year, and then I got to tie in a little bit of a fitness component here. So the best fitness and health page to follow going into 2022. So we're going to start things off with the best fitness and health pages to follow, or rather people to follow. Then we'll move into workout song of the year, breakdown of the year, and then lastly, round out today's episode with my pick for album of the year. So the best fitness and health pages to follow, these are all different people, and each person that I'm going to cover has their own sort of specialty in health or fitness, and I'm basically just going to explain why I think you may enjoy following them if you're not already. So these really aren't ranked. I'm just going to cover the top 5 in no particular order. So the first health and fitness related page that I think you should give a follow to is the guy who goes by Philion. So that's Philion with a PH, not an F. And Philion is kind of most active on YouTube, and he covers a lot of content sort of exposing fake natties in the fitness industry, as well as just kind of exposing like quote unquote alpha males and a lot of the toxic culture that you kind of see in society today, with particularly males and also just kind of some of the BS that's in the fitness industry as well. So I've mentioned being a smart consumer before on this podcast, being able to critically think and decipher what is the true meaning behind what somebody's saying. There may be false supplement claims, that type of stuff. So Philion really goes into all of that, and I think he does a great job of sort of sifting through some of the lies and the fakeness that is in the fitness industry. So I think Philion would be a great follow if you're not already following him. His content's pretty funny as well, so it has a comedic sort of spin on it as well. So it's not super dry and really negative either. So Philion, definitely check him out. The next person that I have here is Rich Roll. So Rich Roll is the host of the Rich Roll podcast, and he was a big inspiration for me starting my own podcast. And his content is primarily focused on health and wellness. Rich Roll is an ultra marathon runner. He's an author, and he has great guests on his podcast. So if you're into podcasts, I definitely recommend checking him out. He's active on all social media platforms, and I primarily digest his podcasts on YouTube. So he has great video form for his podcasts, and his guests are all great. He gets some awesome people on there. I believe he's had some people from the likes of like Lance Armstrong. He's had I can't think of all the people off the top of my head, but he's had some big names on there. So just go check out Rich Roll. My favorite segment though that he does is called Roll On, where him and his friend Adam Skolnick go on and they kind of just have more of a conversation. They talk about news topics, things that are just current events as well. So be sure to check out Rich Roll. You will not regret giving him a follow if you aren't already. Then we're going to go into my third pick here, which is Nathan. So I believe Nathan's full name is Nathan McCollum. He's a Gymshark athlete. I believe he's sponsored by Ghost for his supplement company, and he lives in Australia. So he's a really positive, kind of upbeat guy, and he's really into metalcore music as well. So his primary kind of niche is fitness, but he does somewhat of what I'm trying to do with this podcast is combining metalcore as well as fitness. So He has a reaction channel on YouTube as well called Nathan and Johnny, and him and his friend react to bands' videos. They're funny. He posts great workout content as well, so be sure to check out Nathan. On Instagram, I believe his name is just Nathan, how you would spell it, Nathan. So be sure to check him out for some great workouts, as well as some cool reaction videos as well on YouTube. So we're going to move into the number 2 pick, and this is going to be Julian Smith, and he is also known as the Quad Guy. So you may be familiar with Julian Smith. He is a former Optimum Nutrition athlete who has now started his own supplement brand called Arms Race Nutrition. I haven't tried any of the supplements, so I'm not sure. I can't really speak on those, on whether they work or not, but Julian's best product, in my opinion, is called the Daily Pump, and he provides a sort of subscription service where you pay, I believe it's $6 a month, and he posts unique content for the subscribers into that monthly subscription service, and I believe he posts his daily workouts on there, so the Daily Pump, and you can follow his workouts there. And he has more of a bodybuilding style split. He claims that he's a natural bodybuilder, and if you're not following him on YouTube or on Instagram, I recommend following him there. He doesn't post any YouTube content, but he does post a lot of great tips and information on his Instagram page, even if you're not subscribed to the Daily Pump. So be sure to check out Julian. The best thing I think that comes from his content is unique variations for working different muscle groups. So be sure to check him out. Kind of mention one of his friends as well, called Professor Marvin. He's a personal trainer, and he also posts great content. So Professor Marvin trains out of Julian Smith's Arms Race gym in Oregon, and kind of together they're a great follow. So be sure to check out Julian Smith. And the last person that I recommend you check out this year is Ali Marchon. So Ali is a former, believe, rugby sevens player. I'm not too familiar with rugby or anything like that, but he's based in the UK, and he has his own gym, like a functional physique, kind of functional fitness slash functional physiques training gym called Marchon, and located in the UK, like I said. And the reason I think he's a great follow is that, as we get older, functional training is going to be very important, not just the bodybuilding training. So his style of training, I think, is something that we should all aspire to do a little bit more of. And him and his team and the way that he's built that gym in the UK is just something that I think is very admirable and very motivating as well. So be sure to check out Ali Marchon, as well as just the Marchon gym, and that is Marchon. He has a brother named Charlie, and he also has good content as well. But it's been really cool to see them grow that gym and that business over the past few years. So I think I started following Ali back in 2017 or 2018, and it's just been cool to see him grow that gym. They also have a coaching sort of certification program called the PFCA, which I believe stands for the Professional Fitness Coaches Association. I'm not 100% sure on that, but just be sure to check out Ali. Even if you live in the States, no matter where you're at, he posts his daily workouts on there a lot, and just gives you some ideas for different styles of training, especially if you come from more of a bodybuilding background. So those are the top 5 fitness and health pages that I think you should give a follow this year. We'll run through them again really quick here. We have Philion, Rich Roll, Nathan, Julian Smith, and then lastly, Ali Marchon. So be sure to check out those pages. Like I said, I'm sure I'm missing some, so if I am, be sure to head over to my Instagram page and let me know which pages I'm missing or I should follow if I'm not already. All right, so now we're going to move into more of our music awards section. And these are actually going to be ranked. So we're going to start off with Workout Song of 2021. And my criteria for this is it has to be heavy all the way through the whole song, right? So we're going to get into the top breakdowns, but if a song has a great breakdown, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a great workout song all the way through. So that's kind of my difference here, is that the song has to be heavy all the way through. And we are going to get into my number 3 pick for workout song of 2021. And this is going to come from the band Veil of Maya. And this song is called Viscera. So this is a single that they released this year. For Veil of Maya, they haven't released an album since False Idol, which came out in 2017. And that had the popular song called Echo Chamber on there. Veil of Maya's lead singer, Lucas, I believe it's Magar, he is actually from where I'm from, which is the state of Wisconsin. So I thought that was kind of a cool fact. Lucas has great vocals, great cleans, as well as really kind of emotional or gritty screams as well. So Viscera starts off really heavy with their kind of unique Veil of Maya guitars. They're very, I don't want to say it has like a squeal sound, but definitely unique. You can tell Veil of Maya guitars from other guitar work in other bands. The song has a catchy chorus, and if you're going for your top set to sort of use this song for a heavy lift, I would get ready at around the 2-minute and 45 mark. There's a nice build up to what I would call like a groove down. So you think it's going to drop off into this really heavy smashing breakdown, and it goes into more of a groovy kind of bendy guitar sort of breakdown, if that makes sense. So Viscera is just a great song, and by a great band in Veil of Maya. So be sure to check that one out. The number 2 song is going to come from a band that I've featured on the podcast a few times, and this is from the band called Wage War. So Wage War has released 4 albums, and this song is called High Horse. And this was a single that was released off of their 4th album, which is titled Manic, which also came out this year. And the song is under 3 minutes long, so you know that it's going to be really heavy all the way through, and that's what we want for this, for the workout song criteria. It kind of has a Slipknot-ish style vibe to it, just really punchy, almost like a 2-step sort of beat to it the whole way through. And there are some heavy breakdowns that occur at the 1-minute and 20-second mark, as well as the 2-minute and 10-second mark. So some of the lyrics go like, "You want to see a war, I'm here to settle scores." So it has like a sort of angry vibe to it, which makes it a great workout song to play if you're using it for, you know, heavy lifts and that sort of thing. So song is really heavy and sort of groovy all the way through. So the lyrics are angry, which matches the sound of the music. So be sure to check out High Horse by Wage War. All right, let's get into our number 1 pick for workout song of 2021. And this comes from a band that released a new album last year. And the album that they released last year was called How to Survive a Funeral. So you may be already guessing what this band is, or who this band is, and that is Make Them Suffer. So this is an Australian band. Their big album came out last year, How to Survive a Funeral. And the song that I'm picking for workout song of the year from them is called Contraband. So this is the only song that they released this year, and it's a single that features Courtney LaPlante from Spirit Box, and the song is heavy all the way through. It's great. It starts off with kind of like a slower tempo, and then right when Sean's lead vocals come in, it's just heavy from there all the way through. So they kind of remind me of Polaris in this song, which is also another Australian metalcore band. The guitar riffs are awesome all the way through. I think the guitar work is some of the most impressive. It's probably one of the most impressive parts of this entire song. There's great breakdowns starting at the 3-minute and 27 mark, and then it kind of continues all the way through the rest of the song. Another heavy part at 3 minutes and 45 seconds. And it kind of goes into this dark finale with really deep, low screams. So The verses are all sang very, very clean and melodic. And then Courtney actually does some screaming, I believe, in the second verse. So if you missed this one this year, I highly encourage you to check out Contraband by Make Them Suffer and add it to your workout playlist immediately. So that is going to do it for the workout song of 2021. The order was Viscera by Veil of Maya at number 3, High Horse by Wage War at number 2, and then Contraband by Make Them Suffer at number 1. So without further ado, let's move into breakdown of the year. And breakdown of the year, I mean, you can guess the criteria for this one. It has to be a really, really heavy breakdown. And this one was hard to pick. Not the number 1 spot, that one was fairly easy, but the two for the second and third spot were a little bit more challenging. So for the number 3 spot for breakdown of the year, this is going to go to the band Convictions, who I covered in my last episode. And this song is called Teeth. So Teeth comes off of their 3rd album called I Won't Survive, which came out this year. Lots of great albums this year. And this song is 2 minutes and 8 seconds long. So this honestly could be a workout song of the year as well. It's just really heavy all the way through. You know, if a song is less than 3 minutes, it's going to be heavy, it's going to move quick. So there's a lot of emotion in this song, and it's just, Convictions has that raw emotional screaming that I think goes really, really well for working out, because it draws a lot of emotion out of the person when you're listening to it. So the super heavy bass breakdown begins at 1 minute and 10 seconds. And then there's another really heavy breakdown at 1 minute and 33 seconds. So be sure to check out Teeth by Convictions, and just trust me on this one, just add it to that workout playlist. You will not be disappointed. Then we're going to move into the number 2 pick. And this one comes from a band that released music kind of back in the early 2010s. And they've released a couple singles this year, or I believe last year, and then also this year. Not a new album recently. And this comes from the band I the Breather. And this song is called Brain Sick. And they spell it BRAINSIK as one word. So not 2 words if you're looking it up on Spotify. And they've released 3 albums dating back to 2010. They have some really heavy bass guitar tones on this song. And at 45 seconds into the song, get ready for the breakdown, they sort of use that gun loading and then timing the breakdown with what would be like the gun shot. But the screaming's with it, it really drops off nicely, and it just has a good lifting vibe to it. The lyrics aren't necessarily super motivating, but just the sound of this breakdown is awesome, and definitely worthy of that number 2 spot. All right, let's get into the number 1 spot. And like I said, this song was not hard to pick for breakdown of the year. I think almost every single metalcore reaction YouTube page covered this song. And it's not necessarily from a metalcore band. It comes from more of a deathcore band, which usually isn't my style. I think I like the melodic aspects of metalcore with like the clean choruses, and then a little bit shorter songs, I guess. But this song comes from the band Lorna Shore, and the song is called To the Hellfire. So you may be familiar with this one. Gained a lot of, I don't want to say press, but a lot of attention, I guess, after it was released, and for good reason. So this comes off of their EP called And I Return to Nothingness, and it features their new vocalist, Will Ramos. The song is quite long. It's actually over 6 minutes long, and it includes lots of great guitar work, lots of great drum work as well. The drums almost sound programmed. They move so fast. like I said, it falls into that deathcore genre, and the massive, and I mean massive, breakdown that literally had everyone who made a reaction video to drop their jaw. That breakdown begins right after the guitar solo at 5 minutes and 15 seconds in. And it's basically a 40-second wild ride breakdown that has pig squeals and high and low screams. And like I said, usually deathcore is not my style, but you just have to give the song props, both instrumentally and vocally. So Will Ramos does not disappoint with the finale breakdown. So this one, by a long shot, is breakdown of the year. So let's recap the three. Coming in at number 3, we have Teeth by Convictions, Brain Sick by I the Breather, and then lastly, To the Hellfire by Lorna Shore. So be sure to check those ones out, especially To the Hellfire. And do not forget to play these loud when you're listening to them. It just sets the vibe. It makes the emotion and the music just hit all that much harder. So be sure to check those 3 songs out. And without further ado, let's go into our top 3 picks for album of the year. So a lot of albums came out this year, but there were some that were more anticipated than others. And I believe that my top 3 does fall into under those more anticipated albums for 2021. So the first band and album is going to be Iridescent by Silent Planet. So Silent Planet has been around for a little while now, and one of their most unique characteristics is Garrett Russell's lyrical content. So one thing that I like about Garrett is that he is a Christian, so he ties in some Bible verses into the lyrics, but he also talks about genocide and real world issues that sometimes people forget about, and sometimes people forget about the reality of those issues, and he really brings all that together in his lyrics. And it almost sounds like poetry, the way that he crafts these songs lyrically. And then the screaming and the instrumentals and that the actual music is so good to pair with the emotion that's behind all of the lyrics. So I was definitely anticipating this release from Silent Planet. They released a song called Trilogy back in 2020, and that's still my favorite song off of Iridescent. So iridescent means showing luminous colors that seem to change when seen from different angles. So you can kind of guess, what does that mean? Does it mean that we all have different perspectives of the world and we all see the world differently? I don't know. Hopefully Garrett will come out with an interview, maybe somebody asking these questions, and where we can get a little bit more background on it. But the criteria for album of the year is that the album has to take you on a musical journey, and I do believe that Iridescent by Silent Planet does that, this album. It's a 12-song album, and Garrett's lyric writing is top-notch on this one, and it really gets you thinking as you listen to these songs. And I always recommend pulling up the lyrics when you do listen to any Silent Planet work. It's just great. So my favorite song by them of all time is Dark Strand 2. So be sure to check that one out as well. So Iridescent, Silent Planet, that takes the number 3 spot. All right, let's move into the number 2 spot for album of the year. And this pick is from another highly anticipated band that was releasing an album this year. And this comes from the band Eminence, and the album is Heaven in Hiding. So Heaven in Hiding was actually the name of one of their singles that they released prior to the album release. And it's a 13-track album. And my favorite song from this album is Temptation. So Temptation is a great lifting song. Excuse me, there's a good breakdown toward the end of the track. Their music videos for all of the singles that they released off of this album are great music videos. They really take you on a wild ride and really a musical journey, like I said, as being part of the criteria. So this album tops Iridescent by Silent Planet just because there are a lot more memorable songs from this one. One thing that I haven't been enjoying that much about bands recently is that they release a lot of singles before they release the album. So then when the albums come out, there's not as much new music to listen to. But I will say, I think Imminence did a great job of still having a handful of songs that no one had heard yet that were really great as well. So they do have great lyrical content in their songs in this album. And, some of them include, I kind of included this blurb here from Ghost, from the song Ghost. And it says, "Can you tell my ghost that he doesn't belong here anymore? How can I raise these walls when the ground beneath my feet is crumbling, searching for the answers in the darkness of my soul?" So there's a lot of, introspection and, can you tell my ghost that he doesn't belong here anymore? If you think about that, like maybe the ghost is like another version of yourself, and, that maybe darker version of yourself is creeping up in your life sometimes, and you recognize that, and having to tell that ghost, so to speak, that it doesn't belong in your life anymore. So I think there's a lot of that introspection that can be done with these lyrics, and I know that everybody interprets lyrics differently, but that's one of my favorite parts about these bands, both Silent Planet and Imminence, is that their lyrical content really does take you on a wild journey, and it does make you think, which I think is a great part of music. Not only is the guitar work and the riffage awesome, and the screaming and the vocals and the violin, and there's so many parts of this album instrumentally that are great, but then you couple that with the deep lyrical content, definitely makes for a top 3 pick for me this year. So that was Heaven in Hiding by Imminence. So let's get into the number 1 pick for album of the year. And this band I haven't included on the podcast. I don't believe I've included them yet. Maybe in the first episode. And this band released a self-titled album this year. And you may be guessing what this band is. And drumroll please. It is going to be Era by the band Era. So this album came out in March, and ever since they released Eye of God back in 2019, and that was one of their last songs that they released with Sumerian Records, I was anticipating a new album from them. And it took them a while for them to release another single after Eye of God, and then they released Snowblood. And Snowblood is a great track, great guitar work, awesome breakdowns. But for me, Era doesn't fall under the workout criteria for me. The lyrics are it's more of like I would play it driving in the car, but it's still upbeat and it has a positive energy to it. So I love Era for that. These guys mentioned that this album is their best work to date, and that was sort of what contributed to them just having it be self-titled. Some of my favorite songs, really every song is great, but some of my favorites are Snowblood, Divisionary, and Remnant. I believe the album is just a true masterpiece, both lyrically and instrumentally, and next level riffs and solos, especially in Gungrave and Snowblood. And if you want to get an idea how masterful I believe Jesse Cash is on the guitar, you can check out his guitar playthroughs. They also have an instrumental version of the album out, so you can listen to that and really get an idea of the work that goes into the instrumentals of this album. And then you can also, if you're a guitar player, if you go to Sheet Happens and search for Era there, you can actually buy the tablature and play these songs on guitar as well. So if you definitely have an appreciation for the instrumental aspect of what these metalcore bands put together, I would encourage you to check that out as well. But I just wanted to read some lyrics from Divisionary and just kind of give you an idea of not only is the music extremely, there's an extreme level of talent in the instrumentals, but also in the lyric content as well. So I'm just going to read the lyrics for Divisionary here. So they go, bodies in sway to melody absent of rhythm, an offering to our only begotten engineer, broken contact with the eye within the prism, erase, black mirror scripture imparts, in a world as foreign to us as our own hearts. Technology is God, and God speaks. Humanity is secondary to me. Hold me down, I'm cancerous and I'm spreading out. We will drown beneath the vices we disavow. Small black screens are your only God now. Creature writhing within a dreaming system. He oscillate as the science tries to manifest resolution to man's every schism. Erase. Distraction is clandestine, but we all have the passcode. Identities wander as autonomous shadows. The concept animates in reflective visage. Man creates God in his own image. Hold me down, I'm cancerous and I'm spreading out. We will drown beneath the vices we disavow. Small black screens are your only God now. Lost and alone in a space void of color. I'm here, breathing salt, ocean, grave, going under. All we are is lost. Connected and polarized. Division is catalyzed. Pseudo-selves we fantasize. Unity is bastardized. Lost and alone in space, void of color. I'm here, breathing salt, ocean grave, going under. All we are is lost. So, I mean, very poetic in those lyrics. And, you know, some of the ones that stand out to me the most are technology is God and God speaks, humanity is secondary to me. And then small black screens are your only God now. So kind of, showcasing or making the point that, you know, technology has taken over our lives, and we do look to what people think of us online, and we look to our phones as maybe being the standard that we set for us as humans. So with that last line, all we are is lost, I think is sort of an eye-opening lyric that, you know, maybe we need to open our eyes and realize that, you know, actual human connection is really important, and maybe putting the phones aside. That's kind of what I take from this, but that's just one song. There's so many great songs on here. Vanished Canvas, and then Memory Fiction is the final track that's a little bit slower and more clean vocals. But overall, this album by far takes the cake for album of the year. I recommend just starting with Snowblood and playing it in order all the way through all 12 songs, and even just closing your eyes and really listening to the instrumentals and trying to decipher the lyrics as well. It's a wild ride, but it is a great one, and by far Era takes the cake for album of the year. So I recommend checking that one out as soon as you can if you haven't already. So I'm really excited to see what they come out with in the future, but they've definitely outdone themselves with this album. So my picks for album of the year: Iridescent by Silent Planet at number 3, Heaven in Hiding by Eminence at number 2, and then Era by Era as the album of the year for 2021. So that is going to do it for the last episode that I'm releasing for 2021. I want to thank you guys for listening, and be sure to stay tuned for more great episodes as we go into 2022. Once again, hopefully you check out these bands and these songs, also the fitness pages that I mentioned as well. I think they can all be helpful, and I'm looking forward to talking with you all in 2022. Stay safe and take care.